it's not part of the pipeline. It is my computer. It's the one I normally would use to join office hours, after hours. So what I've done though is I've taken a copy of the feed, copy of the feed that is our program
6:30
from the 40 by 40 router in our O9O infrastructure. After it comes out of the color correction by the FSHDR, I set it back into the Amazon link, which is what sends it out to the interwebs, sends it out to YouTube in 4K. I have a copy of that I sent through SDI back into a little SDI to HDMI 4K. I plug that into an ATEM, which I then reflect as my camera on my computer. So since I'm already in the meeting, I just replace my camera with that in meeting. And now I can give people the FEMIC frame during the sound checks. And if no one moves the meters, I can also give them meters in that same frame. So they don't have to move their eyes.
Good morning, everyone.
Do we have a 2.0 cutter today?
The pumpkin cutter.
Tommy had requested to have a bit of a play with the interface today, I believe. Is that still correct, Tommy?
Yes, it is. For most of the first hour, we're probably... Oh, excuse me. George has requested that he get a shot at it too, so I'm able to turn it over to him at any time as well.
Awesome. So what I'll do is I'll direct message you the link now, and I'm assuming we're still on the same link as yesterday, Jonas. There's been no new versions. So I'll send this to you now, both of you, and then we'll get you logged in. Thanks for the reminder on that, Josh.
Copy that.
Richard, that's predicated on being able to back away from note taking if it does get quieter in the second hour.
Christmas.
And if not, I'll just stay on the note.
No problem, George.
Let me just try again. Let me watch.
So Tommy and George, that's the link, just direct message to you. So that should take you to a login page where you put in your email. You'll then get a code sent to your email account. If you don't get a code through, double check spam and junk folders and so forth. And then you should get a prompt to put in a reason as to why you're logging in, which you can put something in. And then you should come through to the TD interface.
JJ, I sent you the updated Isidore file.
Okay, sorry. Said Isidore file. Okay. Do you plan to use it? Do you want us to use the Isidore today?
Yes.
The one you just sent. Okay. All right. We'll do.
It's through a lot of minor changes. And the big change is that we use the latest version of Juan's thing, and that we don't automatically update the supersource anymore. You need to press the SS process for that.
Okay. Copy.
Good morning, one and all. Welcome to for those of you who've been coming for a long time, we've had our
Wow, I'm dumb.
What?
Well, I'm trying to do this. I was trying to create this overlay using OBS. I'm just grabbing the WLM meters,
Yeah.
and because I'm such a damn idiot, I forgot that I could just easily create that super source inside of the mix effect. Grab
Oh, yeah.
WLM meter, instead of it moving around, I just set it as super source, and then it wouldn't move anymore. So back to my first statement. I am dumb.
No, you're not.
The interesting is you can't see it in here. See, if I did it that way, you guys would see it in here. Wow, stupid. Is it okay if I turn this into draft 38? Thank you.
I don't care. I just wanted to make sure that I don't step on your toes with your versioning and that you see a change.
Yeah, foolishly, I haven't created a board for what my changes, which change included what. I need a board that has that. Oh, that is in GitHub. Dora. All right, let's see what happens when I do this. I'm gonna try to open it at the same time as the first one.
You want to see the place burn down today. I see.
That's weird. Where is it? Wow, it didn't break it that bad.
Nice.
The screen is still working. All right. Okay, let me start propagating this. Let's see if I can. Good, IP addresses look correct. Resyncing all data, turning off the API for a moment. I'm going to turn off the. I'll leave it there. Who cares?
Thanks, George, for confirmation that you have access to the system. Tommy, can I check if you've got access as well?
I have not found the link yet.
The link, just to let you know, I sent it in this Zoom meeting, just in case that wasn't clear when I was sending it. So it wasn't via Discord; it was a direct message from within this meeting. Is that clear?
Understood.
Let me know if you haven't got it, and I'll happily send again, or I can send through Discord if you prefer.
Would you be willing to send me the version of the updated patch?
Sorry, Tilok. Would you say it again? That was quite quiet for me, so it might have been quiet for others. Jonas, just let you know that your unwrapping is coming through quite considerably.
Jonas, would you be willing to send me the current patch?
Let me look through it, but probably, yeah. There's really, like, the only change I did is I changed the channel on one of the under graphics, so it now acts on active speaker as well. But yeah, I can look into that later. The only other change is that I make it look a little bit clearer so we can see stuff. Send it to you in a bit.
So George, just to confirm things are active, would you put 2 into preview? So unlike an item, there's no preview versus program row. So you just have to hit 2. Basically, anything you hit will automatically go into preview. So if you press 2, it should put Jason, yeah. And then 3 should put Courtney. And then 4 should put Josh. Excellent. And Smart Gallery.
So is that, JJ, that's the version that I sent you?
Yes, sir. It's up.
Great.
It's working right now. It's in place.
Great. Can we
Smart
have a
Gallery
look
16.
at a specific section in there?
Yeah, let me, yes, give me 1 second to fiddle the people around.
No problem. You can
There
fiddle all you
are-
want, and then we'll look at. I want to look at the host reader assignment why that isn't working today.
Is Jeff Francis here? I see him. I can't reassign Jeff Francis for some reason. Let's see if I can reassign him here. Nope, I can't reassign Jeff Francis. Why not?
I
Jeff
suspect it has to do
Francis.
with his number in Zoom.
I think it's because he misspelled Columbia. It's exactly why. He misspelled Columbia the first time. He went and changed it while it was syncing. Let me sync. Columbia. Columbia.
Why
So
would-
George, would you put a Smart Gallery into preview? So if you look for Smart
That's
Gallery
Where
16,
it says Smart Gallery 16, yeah, that's what I was trying to ask before.
you're
There we go.
okay. We'll just Tommy and George and myself. We'll probably stay off comms a little bit today, just to give I was aware yesterday we were maybe interrupting the debugging. So I'll just spend a little bit of time now, just making sure you've got access, and then I'll let you hand off to each other in chat. So we'll start with George poking at the system, and move into Tommy if that suits.
To clarify,
Copy.
are you saying, JJ, that if somebody changes their names, that it no longer is synced? I thought that it was only to the numbers. So is that a note we should take?
I think it's only when you change your name while we are syncing.
Yeah, so to maybe answer your question, Talok, mostly the system cares about the number. So if you change your name, it mostly cares about the number. But when it comes to assigning a person inside of the interface, the universe interface, to a certain node, it doesn't recognize that person if if the name is wrong.
Oh, the connection between universe and Isadora then has a broken button because it's not pointing at the right thing.
Correct. That's what's broken. That part's broken. Okay, let me get Roscoe in here. So where was I? Is Joshua going to be in the show, or are we going to just get meters for that panel?
I can jump in if you like, as I did yesterday.
Right?
Do you plan on being in show or not?
No,
I wasn't planning on it, but I can pop in if we need to test anything.
No. I'm just checking to see the numbers of folks, so I can keep reassigning.
You know, I can
Copy
hear
that.
everything
I can put you on another number in the.
it may
Yeah, if you want to
just
put me
be
on the
how
back
it
burner,
reacts.
This is so great. We have so many more people that we need. Todd Reynolds.
So Tommy, just want to check in. Did you get access okay?
I was
Okay.
trying to do it on my tablet, and I got all the way through with where it asked for the number for confirmation, and then it said that I did not have an internet connection. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and try it on my PC here.
No problem.
Tommy, can you get a little closer to your mic, please?
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the shore.
I'll get rid of my room noise. We absolutely need a new bot soon. There's 37 panelists.
37?
Yeah.
What is happening today?
I don't know. So, well, because audio. I think the
Oh,
audio
because
guys,
it got cancelled and now the audio guys wanna get
they
it
want
back.
it back. Yeah.
I
Like
think
Kurt
they're
is here
doing
for the first time in months.
the planning. Anytime Alex moves one of these planning sessions or they look into the future session, it seems like the panels are bigger too, and we're doing it all week.
So Jonas, what would you like me to? Wait, is my camera here? Where's my camera? Oh, it's the wrong place. What would you like me to look at?
So let me navigate there myself so I can.
It's a little better for you. I did
to
once
go
upon a
to
time.
the top left to Mukana Live database. Oh no, it's not in the top, it's in the middle. Should be looking like this.
Purple. Okay.
You should hashtag that so we can just go to it.
Yeah, I think in one of the changes all the hashtags got removed, so we should work on redoing those.
Get Mukana hands.
And then the big block called Mukana Live Database. This one.
Got it.
And there, can you go into serialized roles and have a look what's in there?
Serialized user roles?
No, serialized roles should be the lowest of the outputs. Should have a whole lot of question marks and then one host and one reader, ideally.
Okay, the bottom option here has question marks. Oh, I might have disconnected the API. Let me go reconnect it. Oh, that's great. So note for another note, George. OSC crashed on the main brain right now.
Amazing.
And we're presently on version 4.0.5. If anyone asks.
Jonas, with your new change, can the API reconnect at all? Because the only thing the API on and off thing that
I don't hear you loud and clearly, Talalak. It's hard to understand you.
It sounds to me in your previous change.
No chance of understanding you, Talalak.
This is a very technical system to set up in an hour at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Richard, I'm ready to go through the panel if you are.
That's awesome. Thanks, Tommy. So you can see the panel, no problem. And can you put 2 into preview? So just by pressing 2, it will automatically go into preview. And 3. And 3. And 4. And just work through the buttons up until 16, and you should see that corresponding change as it goes through each of the panelists who are in the upper 16. And then 17 to 20, as you probably already know, aren't in the multi-view, the 16 multi-view. They are in the main multi-view at the bottom. I believe that JJ has now relabeled everything for us, which is fantastic. So we can get the numbers as well as the hub. And then the buttons above that are for things like the super source and the smart gallery and the active speaker and screen, so forth. Just a note, I'm assuming that we're aware that screen share and smart speaker currently are not working. Screen share is up, so maybe it was on black. Oh, hello. Small screen share.
Yeah, the screen share crashed. Smart speaker won't work because we have more than 20 panelists today. Oh, what fun it is to... Yeah.
So Tommy, if you could put Smart Gallery 16 into the preview. That's great. And then if you want to hit Super Source, that should go into, so that's SSRC and then usually a number. Possibly it says no source right now. So that brings the super source into the window. This version at the moment we're seeing, obviously there's nothing in it. That's because there's no hands raised or question through at the moment. But if you, this is the host version, actually this is the host and reader version of it. So if you click host SS, there you go. So the super source changes to just the host plus the panelists who have raised their hands. Host reader SS, if you wish to press that. As you can see, that changes it over to the host with the reader in it, plus then the panelists once this all loads in. So that's generally a little introduction to how those different buttons work at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to hand back to George for the first little bit. So if George, you want to switch as you like in the background as we do the RFI as well. And then whenever you're ready to hand over, just give Tommy a nod to hand over. Maybe pass it back and forth every couple of questions to give yourselves a bit of more activeness.
Okay, copy that, Richard.
What are you doing, JJ?
I was giving homage to Greg.
So I wasn't listening to program at that stage, so
no, he was yeah. He's refusing to talk about himself. So I was giving him the Wayne's World, we're not worthy, since he was the Foley artist on Wayne's World.
So
funny how much
JJ,
that loses in translation without the "we're not worthy" audio. Sorry, Jonas, go ahead.
do you now, if you go to that section again, do we get now something for serialized roles? I mean, if not, we know that there's an issue. At least then we made.
Cancel. So I'm still seeing question marks. Let me go down through the inventory. I see only question marks.
Only question marks. Copy that. And if you go to the inputs, there is one called, I will need to have a look at that then.
Actually, what's interesting too, the serialized Mukana IDs also isn't populating.
Okay, let me check what we need to do that. That should be triggered by the update command.
Oh man, this is gold. if anyone who's I advise putting ears into the main meeting right now. Listen to Greg talk.
Okay, JJ, let's force update to Mokana by going to scroll down a tiny bit and then to the left. There should be a get URL text actor. Let me
Yes, sir.
pin you.
I have it.
And click on the get. That will cause the whole Mokana thing to update.
Just click on that whole actor?
No, on the get field.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep, I saw that.
No, it's
Okay.
loading
wow.
in a bunch of stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, that's a great one. So I just, can we go check serialized roles?
Yes, exactly. If we check that now again, we know that the sync workflow isn't 100% working.
Keine Information. There's nothing new there.
Okay, so
I mean, there's
let
just,
me
again,
show you
software
where
stuff.
in Isadora you can set it manually up right now.
Okay.
So if you go to the right, just on the purple box.
The one purple to you because it's selected?
No.
Yes.
Do you want to share your screen,
Mila.
Jonas? What it looks like?
Mokana Live Data Manager? Oh, that one.
This
okay.
one. That's
okay. Host and Ask Your Management.
Yeah, so if you go totally to the right on there,
yeah,
you see the listeners.
Multi-transit. I think I went too far. So yes, listeners, 21.
Go to 7. The output of the path inputs, and then for the first and the second one, you can type in the pins of host and reader, and that way the buttons will start working.
Okay, so I think this is one. Do I know which one is host?
Let me check on that real quick.
Oh, weird. I tried to change it and it forced it to 5. I tried to change. Interesting. So if I try to force change host, it's insisting on 5, which is who is?
Jonas, I think that is in order for the host and reader to be routed to the correct place in MixEffect.
I set that manually every time. Look.
Okay, if it doesn't allow it for you on there, that is 20, and the other one is close. The other listener is 7.
I'm going to change it now in Universe to see if it reflects that change back in Isadora.
The upper one is the host.
Yeah, the upper one, before show, I had set the host to Danny Law, who is in 5. So when I tried to manually force a change of host to Alex by pushing 1 in there, it did not accept that. It reverted back to 5. Now I've changed that inside of. Oh no, I haven't. Hold on. Let me go change Mokana.
Yeah, otherwise Alex is like, dude.
He's still not logged in yet. Okay, who's 2? 2 is Jason Beish. Because I'm going to change it to 2 to test this. No one's logged into Mokana.
Make sure on the Madden.
No, I did. Madden in the Kitchen only has 6 people.
I don't see Alex as well. But you can declare Bill as reader.
Yeah, so I'm going to declare Bill as reader. Bill, who's in location. Where is he? He's in location 17?
17. You do need to click the get thing again, in theory. But not that it's working. But
oh, interesting. Actually, So here's another data point. When I change it and it's not set by Mukana, it lets me change it. So I went to the reader field, which is the one below in that purple box.
Yeah.
And let me change this thing. Host and ask mention. So I went to the reader field and it allowed me to change it from -1 to 3. -1, I believe, is the we don't know value.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'm now pulling in the data again. I clicked on the get URL from the get URL text.
Do we now have anything in serialized roles?
Well, I should have anyway, because remember Danny Law was set.
Yeah, so I think the serialized roles stopped working.
Yeah, serialized roles has not been working. Does not seem to work. So
Okay,
it still has nothing but question marks. If I go over to the static location to build it, I see it now still says 5. What the cow?
Yeah, it didn't update. So what you can do is, instead of changing it in parse in, you can change it on what?
So the previous behavior was it said it had 5 there. If I tried to change it, it wouldn't let me change it. So now I've changed it first inside of. Actually, I'm not sure where I changed it. It let me change it to 2. Oh no, never mind. I'm lying. It went back to 5. But it says 5 and 18 now. So 18 is set. Bill is correct. Danny Law is correct. Those values are correct over here.
So what you can do is, because I don't know how the parseInt works, you might want to put it into the input 1 of parseInt for it to take the change.
Wait, feed it back to itself?
No, on the actor where it says -1 on the input 1. No, you're on the right. You're right. Why is it updating? Where did that update came from?
It came from. I said it in Mukana.
Yeah, but it's now flashing green. It shouldn't
Tommy,
update
can
that
you
often.
The comms, please.
What is this? What is it set to right now?
The host output set to Danny Law still, which makes sense, and the reader output is set to Bill Davis, which makes sense. Okay, Alex, let's see. Oh, he's still out there.
Cam, should I go ahead and pull over the Mukana questions?
I think so. I'm just confused.
It makes no sense that is working at all, JJ.
Well,
I think that's no problem, Josh.
We have to trace it backwards. We have to go.
Sorry, go for Josh.
Yes, Josh. Questions.
Copy.
Can someone press the host or the reader button? So we'll see if that now previews the correct person at least.
Tommy, that's for you.
Host reader. Side by side.
Just to confirm that, Stefan has the host.
What?
My video is now off.
Stefan
no,
is host.
Zoom host.
Sorry, apologies. 1.0 host.
Oh, he's cutting. Okay.
My fault.
No worries.
So does host and reader buttons work now?
Alex isn't logged into Mukana.
What?
He's not logged into Mukana.
How is he?
He might be on his other account. He's got 2.
Is it named TJ Asher?
Well, let's see. As soon as he tries to shuffle people, I think he will notice.
Does anyone else see him logged in?
I can confirm I cannot see him logged in.
So so I can't synchronize that data with him not logged in. Let me see if Chad can log him in.
In my imagination, that's like this Chad's hand comes into shot and just presses the button on his table.
Summarize.
No,
There
There he
are
is. He's in.
Yeah, I know, Talalak, that's where that info is coming from. The problem is it's not being set correctly on the other end of that purple thing.
Okay, Alex is set as host. I'm gonna go back to Isadora.
Why
I hope I
that?
renamed the actor.
I'm pretty sure it didn't, because you do need to press get first.
Okay.
But the serialized roles aren't working even, so.
Okay, I've clicked on get. Oh, I see serialized roles actually has a very weird input now. I have 3 and 3. 3 is my first line, 3 is my second line.
What?
Yeah, 3, 3, 1. Okay, so in order, 3, 3, blank, 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 1.
I think
blank,
we might
blank,
need to do
blank.
a full resync at this point.
Okay, copy that.
And let's see if the full resync with all people in Mukama fixes the serialized roles.
Came on office hours. Always impressed me greatly.
Josh, you're feeding back office hours into your mic as well. Just a heads up.
Which is weird.
I think it's gonna.
We can see that you have headphones in. Still syncing. Just weird, man. Okay, setting up outputs. Okay, fixing outputs.
It sounded like a lot of judgment when he said vanilla version. You do a lot with the vanilla version.
I mean, it won't crash as often. Not that I'm bitter.
Francis to 9. Good. Who else is here? Roscoe to 14. Let me dump Preto. Chris Comfort, Kadoki. I'm really glad this is not being streamed today.
Because normally we would be so stressed right now with like, oh no, we need to stream and we can't look into this. But really, the only time we can look into this is now. That's why I wanted to make that call.
All right.
Richard, for Tommy, just 1 second. Sorry, JJ. Just to make sure you can see your direct messages in Zoom. Just I'm going to send you little things every so often, or if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me there.
So Jonas, what I see is, and this is what's unusual. I can actually see that there is a role that's a parsed role that's assigned. Mm-hmm. When I click on the get, if I look at the information that's being pulled in from Mukana,
I see that
reader
as well.
fly by.
Yeah, I checked the API reader and host is set correctly, but it doesn't seem to get out on serialized roles, right?
Correct. Serialized roles again is now empty with nothing but question marks.
Damn it, Andy.
What's going on with the super source?
Oh, you need to press DSS process to pull in a new...
I could reassign those too. Sorry. Bill's got some questions, right?
Yeah.
Copy that. I think it was he was just put in at the meantime.
And then if there's none, is there none or is it just not working? That might be my fault. Let me go.
No, JJ, I changed it so that you need to press DSS process for it to pull it in.
But I might have disabled cascading. Oh no, it's on. Okay.
Let me check something real quick. I'm logging in. Can someone tell me how many hands we have on this one?
Right now, one, because the first asker's already answered. There were two. The first one's already been processed, and now we're on John Preto. And there's one there, and I can see John Preto in the super source. So super source is good.
Next question has 2 hands raised, Mitchell Hill and Rupert McRae.
So the cool thing now is if nobody presses the DSS button, it won't change the DSS process. So we'll stay on this super source. You can securely stay on the super source till we want to change. And only when we press that button, it should pull in the data from Mukana and change it very fast. So for example, if we can get Alex 4D selected again, then
Did you want me to select Alex?
No, we don't want to interrupt Alex in his flow.
Did he just talk?
What?
There was no hand raise for that.
Yeah, he didn't raise his hand. He just said something.
I'm gonna click update now.
We need a stinger
and
for
there
that.
We go. Perfect.
We'll need a random talker stinger.
This is the random talker of today. That worked great, because now nothing changes till I press DSS process again.
When I just hit the graphic in the, there it comes, never mind.
Super source slow to change?
Okay.
No, super source is not slow to change. It's I need to actually press that button for it to change.
Copy that.
I had the buttons flipped. My ins are normally on the top and my outs are on the bottom.
Okay. So, Jonas?
Yeah?
The information from Mukana is persisting. Whereas before, when Danny Law was in location pin 5, after the update, Danny Law is now in pin 4. And even though I've modified Alex to be the host inside of Mukana, Danny Law is still listed as host because in the, what is this called? I forget what this in the purple box.
Yeah.
It now says Danny Law 4. So he's retained that, even though we changed that inside of Mukana.
Did you resync after Alex logged into Mukana?
I did.
Okay, so what you want to do to set host reader then is on the start of the purple box where it says broadcaster. The first one is the pin of the host and the second one is pin of the reader, and if you set it up in there, then it should persist.
So before that, there's also another thing. Oh, see, this is interesting. Okay, so before that, before the broadcast, there's host and asker, and there's a host route that's listed as 4. That's what feeds the value of broadcaster, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to change it before that, and it didn't take it. I'm gonna change this one to 1.
Richard just stepping away for 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
I think you need to put it into the broadcaster.
I did. So, sorry, I tried in the host route. It did not work. It reverted back to 4. If I stick it in broadcaster, it is staying at value 1.
Okay, let's see if the host and...
Nope, I'm lying. It went back to 4.
Why is this updating? So it should not get updated.
In this section, I now see also a host and asker. I see serialized routes with an input. And that one does have inputs of 1.
Well, serialized routes is fine, that one works. But the problem is, do we see anything in serialized roles?
I do. I see host, blank, panelist, host.
So you see 2 hosts?
I see 2 hosts.
Let me check the API.
Going back to check that where that input source is coming from.
Yeah, well, they are 2 hosts in the API right now.
Oh, okay. So that's a feature. Let me remove Danny Law then.
That would explain it, right?
Okay. So Danny Law is now set back to.
Let me verify.
I'm gonna go
Confirmed.
back to.
I only see 1 host now. And if you click the get thing now again.
Copy, done.
Is it now updated to the correct? We have now routes for serialized roles.
Oh, serialized roles? No,
well,
under the Makana Live Database Manager, serialized rows is still broken. Nothing but question marks there. But if I go over to the host and asker management, I see host, question, panelist. Good. I see mostly panelists and a reader, 1 reader.
Great.
So now I'm going to check the outputs at the end, and I see number 1 output, which is Alex. Pin 1 is listed as host, and pin 17, which is Bill, is listed as reader.
Perfect. So if we now press the preview host button.
That was for you, Tommy, but I'll do it. Host. Well, it's Alex.
Well, I'm cutting to 19 then. 19. Host, it works.
Yes!
Where's reader? Question reader?
Bill.
It works. Woo!
All right. 2 more buttons fixed.
I hate it because I didn't change anything.
Well, no, we figured out where it's broken, though.
Yeah, so it's the get thing never fired, so I'll look into that. That's great progress, finally. Whew.
How you doing, Tommy?
Bouncing around. I can't say I've got both feet on the ground, but
Okay.
I'm skipping along.
Okay. So you can see the framing isn't great for a question on Jeff Francis here.
He's not in Fenwick frame.
He's far from Fenwick frame.
Far from Fenwick.
Far from the Fenwick.
George here. I'm looking at the surface, and I'm just wondering if you got the sticky blue button thing happening, Tommy.
So sorry, why again is the super source not updating?
Because people need to the question cutter, the cutter needs to press DSS process for it to pull in an update.
Oh, is that new?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that Tommy needs to do. Tommy, did you catch that?
No, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
So when as part of the cutting rule, you'll need to click on DSS process to update the super source. So you see in the super server right now, there's Alex and Rupert.
Yeah.
So if you watch the next question, which has no hands,
okay.
in order to update that supersource to the next question, which I think, pretty sure Juan built a none. So
funny thing is, we're back to Rupert and supersource, so you're actually good now.
So it's the very button in the very upper left-hand corner, the DSS process?
Yes.
Okay. Then that's to refresh the supersource with no hands.
Correct. Or really to reset it, to set it to whatever is correct for the next question.
I recommend there be a refresh on every next question at least.
When
from the cutter or in the program?
From the cutter.
From the TD, which is you. Who is you? Who are you? Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you?
Who.
George, just an FYI, there was a chat post by Juan at 11:13 that may be relevant to some of you.
Yeah, I saw that. That explains why it's keep updating.
That Git has a control and controls. The change. No, that's an easy feat.
Charles is large and in charge. He's super Fenwick.
Whoa. Is that me? Oh, that's him.
White screen in the chat. White screen has entered the chat. Alex, trigger initiated.
Can we get off of that? So Tommy, are you cutting right now?
I just popped that question back up.
Okay, so FYI, as I think you've seen, the preferences for show is to use SuperSource or Bill, because Bill's framed well, but SuperSource for questions, and then to some degree, SuperSource has been used for the various people who have hands, for which you'll need the panelist view up to see how many hands there are, and now to process the SuperSource.
I was conflicted with my other ear. Could you please start over?
Sure. For cutting the 2.0, generally the desire, since most folks haven't yet conformed to the Fenwick frame, to have the question in with the SuperSource. You'd want to check and verify the SuperSource is correct based off of panelist view, and as I think I just saw you do, you clicked on DSS process. So now the SuperSource looks good. Putting that SuperSource in the preview. So go ahead and put that in preview. Click on the SSRC button. There you go. So that's in preview now. Great. And what you can do, I wouldn't do it now because there's Charles is not in the SuperSource. What you can do is to remind
SuperSource is not updated.
Tommy, can you click on DSS process? There you go. Okay,
I
great.
did.
So that's updated now. And what you can do is remind people of the question every so often. But generally, you don't want to have the question up the entire time. Also, of the different types of views you can use SuperSource, Smart Gallery, Host, Active Speaker, Question Reader. Usually you'd use Active Speaker because it's working pretty well right now. You've got Noah Sargent on screen. The one you want to use when you have nothing else that's possible, that is to say the view of last resort is screen. The reason why we never want to use screen, except as a last resort, is that it has the name of the person, their Zoom name listed, and the lower third. So I took it off of screen. It was on screen for a little bit. You'll want to use Active Speaker more so than using screen.
Yeah, screen at that time was a panic, and I didn't realize it was continued to be active. Thank you.
No worries. And for us, Jonas and Tlaloc and Juan, this current session right now with Alex talking to Charles about his audio at 7.1 Atmos, 1.4 Atmos, since it's a very interesting subject, showed how much we need a banter button.
What should the banter button do?
Well, it would have been like Alex and Active Speaker.
Oh,
I think that just SuperSource. It's built for Alex and one and and Active Speaker as a secondary source. And it would be here. I think it'd be something that like a third button here that's host reader SuperSource, and then another one's just banter. What I think.
Yeah.
And it would what that one button could do, my druthers would be, is it sets two sources in the first SuperSource, which has Alex in box 1 and Active Speaker in box 2, and disables cascading.
Need to reset SuperSource.
I'm gonna AFK, get some water. I'm parched.
I have to come off notes, so please somebody grab. I've got a phone call in my ear. 1 sec.
I can take that.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm seeing Alex flicker to black quite a bit.
Do you mean, Laura, by that the attack is sharp for Active Speaker?
I have always felt that banter should be Alex and the current answerer.
Well, sometimes it doesn't happen with the current answerer, though. It seems like it's mostly, often it's the person that answered first. And then after the second one.
By having it be Active Speaker, it takes away our ability to cover a jagged Active Speaker because of quick talking.
Well, the Active Speaker is no longer jagged. Should be better now. And we can improve the Active Speaker long term. Just can't before now.
Copy.
And maybe it'd be like, set it once the banter starts, and then freeze. Because the issue with Active Speaker is Alex is a candidate for Active Speaker. So if it were just Active Speaker, at times it would be Alex and Alex.
No, Marty, in the super source.
Press DSS process. Oh, did we lose Marty?
No, I don't think so. Marty at TS?
Yeah.
I see him in 12.
Why is he not in the super source then?
Did we hit DSS process?
Yes, a couple of times.
And Marty has his information in, correct?
I see. Oh, weird. For some reason, Jonas, the listed. I'll manually set him, but right now it's set to black.
Oh, it's set to -1 because it can't find him. Can you go into the SuperSource Automation Center real quick?
Yes, sir.
I think Juan might have exported the wrong UID then, which causes it to not find it.
SuperSource Automation Center. Sounds like a interesting place to hang out.
Automatic SuperSource Engine is how it's called on the pad. The big red thing.
Okay, I'm in it.
And then on the right, where it has those 4, can you navigate to those? By the way, you don't have a way of us seeing the patch more clearly than of a camera.
No.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
this is on the. Well, actually, I'm lying. Maybe I can. If I have OBS on there, I might be able to. Yeah.
It's fine for now. So on this one, can you check what the SuperSource Search version 2, what has it for output 3?
SuperSource
Search V2. What does it have for the outputs?
The 4 boxes. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Output 0. Output 1 is 0. Output 2 is 0. Output 3 is 18. Output 4 is 17.
Interesting. So that means it did not. Yeah. That is the issue with how we. Like a 3-up can be 1, 2, 3. It can be 2, 3, 4. It can be 3, 4, 1. Can be 4, 3, 2. I think it got confused in this case.
I'm wondering if it didn't take the value I provided it later. When I first clicked on setup output routes, Marty at TS was not on the main screen. He wasn't one of the first 20. So I assigned him manually to a role.
That's possible that it did not.
And after what has happened what has been true of late is that after I fix the routes, I fill in the holes in our Smart 16 gallery and just in our inventory. That is updated. It remembers that information, and occasionally it would confuse it. For instance, it might show Doug Ferguson instead of Sky, but generally did a pretty good job. Oh, who just left? Someone just left. There's a hole in 2.
Damn it.
Jason Beish. He should be back.
But how's the experience for the cutter with the SuperSource? Does that work that you need to request an update?
Yeah, knowing to hit that button makes a world of difference.
Can you explain the reason for the change? Previously, it did it on it automatically. Were we having reliability issues with the auto?
Well, it did it whenever it think it did it. That way, you couldn't be intentional with it. So we couldn't take it off air, and we don't have an easy way to reliably see if it's off air.
Thinking about that, Jonas, I'm not too sure whether that's as helpful as it was in the previous.
I advanced because Alex mistyped. In this situation, should I back up or just wait for him to finish?
Wait for him to finish.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great thing. Normally, you two clicking on the backend would have now confused the super source and maybe changed it live.
Yeah, it's just the time to get the super source ready and in time. I think in some ways the stronger thing from my perspective, and this is about getting things ready in time to go from preview into program whenever that's a very tight timeline, is to freeze the automatic, not to always have to manually update it. If you know what I mean.
Long term, that's the goal, but we don't have a clear way of knowing if it's live right now.
But that's why it freeze the create a freeze button rather than a hold button, rather than a take away the whole automatic system. Would that make more sense?
Maybe. Well, Marty is black again. Amazing.
Yeah, it's gotta be. All right, so let's see.
He's not showing in his active speaker information is not showing as well.
Let's see where
what just happened? Did he put his hand down right after Alex accepted him?
So it doesn't see his pin.
How has he written it in? I'm not inside the meeting. How has he got it written?
2018, 2018. Let me go check what his number is. Hold on. It might be a correlation issue. Let me go check. Oh, Marty Atias. Ah, because his number's wrong.
That's it. It's maybe 1028.
It's
that's a great thing that
1028.
That the active active speaker doesn't care about the numbers. It just cares about knowing where that person is pinned.
Okay, so let's see if I can get that back again. Let me go back to get. Yes. Oh, there's a button for that now. I mean, there's always a button there. Now I know where that button is.
I've messaged Chad and Marty to see if they can change that.
Already changed it. I got it.
Already changed it. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Sorry, I'm in as co-host.
No, you're okay. It's more I want Marty to be aware of it, so he's aware that as a behavior thing.
Yeah.
I've got a blue light on the graphic in.
What the cow?
That's stuck.
Oh yeah, that's normal. Blue light sadly doesn't mean anything.
And as per yesterday's warning, we have 5 people in queue.
Cool.
If that's helpful to you, Juan.
Is Rupert selected?
Rupert is selected. Update SuperSource, please.
I'm clicking it, doesn't work. Okay, so there's another bug.
Interesting. Yeah, and I looking at the SuperSource search, I see 17, 10, 13, 15, which is Rupert. That's correct. Actually, so Rupert and Mitchell are switched. Is Mitchell next?
Alex is next.
Oh, weird.
Bill's the last one to super source. Still frozen.
And you clicked Bill, correct?
Correct. Bill was clicked.
So it completely just breaks if we try to. Well, we can't have more than 4 people answer it then.
This was the first time in the meeting where we had 5+.
Oh, is that the sorter?
No, it's an issue with Juan's code, I believe, because it should change by now.
The math, you mean? The math section?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
See if it updates now.
Oh, why is this wet?
Still broken.
Copy that.
And update now. Let's see if we can get only match.
And my graph in is not working either.
Did we lose connection from Universe? Can you cut to anything?
Universe crashed. Universe crashed on my side.
Copy that.
That's why
Well, that would explain it.
Universe.
There you go.
So
how is our quality control back to Universe? Are they responsive to the bugs that we're finding?
Only when Jonas goes down to their office and throws stones at their windows.
Yeah, I think if we actually can report a bug that is not like, yeah, we have a number of people banging on it at the same time over a latent TCP tunnel.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Jonas?
Can someone remember what was Marty's number set at when he came in?
when he first came in?
Yeah.
Oh, 2018.
2018, thank you.
Party like it's 2018, baby. I mean, the one he set, right? Not his pin location.
Thank
Okay,
you. Chad's just asking me a question.
Resyncing all data. Yeah, he just messed up his
I'm running.
number. Syncing all data. Okay.
So Chad says that he actually put the pin in for Marty, and he thinks Marty then changed the pin.
What?
Why does super source works?
Yeah, this is my fault. My fault. I'm still setting up outputs.
Test coming up with the next question. 5 in queue.
Copy that.
Okay, moving France to 8.
Let's see if this crashes us again.
Okay, Roscoe to 13.
Is there a way to limit how many people are logged into Universe?
Not really. I can kick people out, but that's as far as that gets.
Is there a way of actively reporting how many currently are in?
Not really.
Feature request?
Not really.
Jonas, please press DSS super source. Jonas is stuck. He'll tell you not really. Just ignore it.
Did someone lock Jonas again?
Okay, deleting the Cloudflare tunnel. Getting remote access to unannounced network.
Calling Eunice's girlfriend.
Yeah, that won't work.
What? She has no phone.
She doesn't respond to calls.
Texting Jonas' girlfriend.
Okay, destroying Jonas' girlfriend's house in Minecraft.
Oh no.
You didn't.
Yes.
Shutting down Isadora.
Activating
the master worm that is part of Player B, taking over all networks globally now.
Over Comcast.
Okay, press DSS reset. DSS process. We have second person answering. Oh, that was good.
Thanks, Laura, for answering George's question there.
I have to say, the job that I'm doing, taking the pressure off the reader, I think is a good thing. But I kind of wish that the show progressed without having to say next question and hitting the button instead. And then, like, if nobody does anything, then you have to say next question.
Yeah, it would solve a problem that I have with the fact that active speaker goes to Alex for a second and then moves on. I think someone did suggest recently, was that you, Josh, that Alex should stop using it, and because people can see what order they're in, they should just go. Because I think that was suggested from within the panel. It would be a good behavior if it worked, if people kept an eye on it. But it also means that people have to be in panel view and pay attention, which has never always been a great thing.
Just as we're talking here, Alex went ahead and added Alex and pushed the button for muscle memory. Yeah. Even before 2.0, I was thinking, how do we get rid of the need for Alex to say next question every single question? I'm like, how possibly could we do this? Like, what technological marvel would we have to instantiate in order to alleviate this, like, continuous and droning thing that requires to progress to the next level? And it's like, if only someone could invent a system whereby technology could replace the need to let the panelists know that they must proceed. And then 2.0 came, and then we replaced it with so, like, I think, like, helping out the reader is a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be a thing that we suggest trying on a Saturday or Sunday to see whether, and there's always the potential that we change the behavior of other hosts first. So we asked Liberty or another to try it out, and then we'll see whether we can prove the concept. Because it would certainly solve that problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're paying attention, like, and you should be, and you can, Alex, of course, I could see him giving a pep talk to all the, like, okay, look, if you're in the queue and ready for a panel, watch your queue, because, I mean, eventually, maybe 3.0, oops, sorry, I missed Todd. Eventually, 3.0, there's going to be a confidence monitor, the heads up display, and you have a tally light and sort of like show you're on. That's sort of a 3.0 request feature that I'm making, but it just makes sense. And just the flow of the whole show, when Bill just knows it's time to move on and reads his next question, is so much smoother than having to hear him say it. Now, if he slips up, next question comes out, but
well, if we could get him to not have to call for the panelist, next question is one thing, but if we could at least find a way to not have him have to ask for the next panelist, that would immediately, for me, move it away from being a show based on Zoom in the back end to being a show, because you don't have that active speaker pullback. And then, yeah, if there's a button he can press that activates the reader, that gives him a little note, that would be, I think that would be fantastic. Like, it would be something in Mechana that the host could press to say next question without saying next question. I think that's not unreasonable.
There is a button. It's called answer.
Yeah. Well, the answer brings it, answer, yeah.
Well,
That's true.
Craig,
You could use it in that way. Sorry, Jonas, go ahead.
if there's anything left to debug, I won't be around for the second hour. I need to jump on another meeting. I see y'all whenever.
Ciao.
Make sure to post if there's anything else happening. Post that, but I feel like we're getting it pretty stable now.
Cool.
Apart from universe crashing.
Yeah. We probably should nail that down as far as like trying to figure out how many people can log in at one time. Maybe limiting access, changing the code, and just giving it exclusively, and seeing just torture testing.
Yeah.
Just having one person, then testing two people, see if two people works, and like what is our limits?
That's true. Yeah, we should work on that.
Well, we did have a few folks inside of accidental.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had running through that one site. I mean, that was a slightly different thing where, well, Jonas can tell us with his tunnel if that works in a similar way, but we had 3 PTZ interfaces and a couple of ATEM interfaces, so probably at least 60 people simultaneously connected to a universe that was running back into through a site-to-site to the theater. So
Did
I
he
don't
say
think
Greg? I didn't hear him say Greg. Okay.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Sorry. Did he say next question? I called his bluff. Jesse's next. Almost got me again, Alex. Didn't bite that time. Okay, so did this work okay? Were we updating? Because this is the 5 panelist question here. I didn't pay attention to the super source.
That's been working fine.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Tommy.
George, are you ready to take over for a bit here?
Tommy, if we can just maybe get into the second hour, would that be okay with you?
You're real low. I couldn't hear you.
Sorry, can we get into the second hour? And then switch over if you're okay with that?
I'm not sure if you're hearing me. Please confirm.
We can hear you.
Not sure which mic you're on. Cannot hear you now.
I switched to my headphone mic.
Okay.
I'm asking Tommy if you can just hang on into the second hour, please.
Copy that. I will.
Thank you.
So that situation where Alex jumped the gun and forgot the rest of the panelists, that would not have happened if he had to go and look for the answer next question and saw that there were more people in the queue.
I think it would have, except for the fact that he's just as he said, he's managing how many more questions to do. So he's doing 2 concurrent processes, which is always, fun for a human being.
And we are without Chris in the super source.
Oh, yeah, Chris has no chair. Let me see if I can find a chair for him.
Get a comfortable chair, please.
Okay, comfort is in a comfortable chair. And it looks like he's reset. So I see him now in the super source.
Thank you.
I mean, this is fantastic work, Juan and Talok and JJ and Jonas. It just feels much more stable, apart from the fact that, crashed.
Right up until the crash, it was...
It does, but it does. It feels just much more solid, which is fantastic.
That's how you put the positive spin on it. You know what? We're getting to our crashes much smoother than we had before.
It's all Juan and Jonas, man. Bien hecho, me. It's Juan, Tlaloc left. Taluk left. Jonas left. Juan's still here. Okay, good. Chris Comfort needs some cucumbers.
For his eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a 5 up coming up next. I think we have to. Is that how it works? You have to update it for the SuperSource to update for our next one when we get there.
Once you get there, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who has that, George or Tommy.
Tom's
Tommy
still
has comms.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what happens here. Just since we fixed our universe issue.
I want the sound studio. That'd be awesome.
AOL's worse.
I'm worse.
Yeah, JJ.
Here we go. 5 up. Let's see. See what our SuperSource looks like. And we're good. SuperSource good.
El Dorado.
Let's see what happens when we switch to Charles.
Yeah, Rivians look cool. With that barbecue, you can pull the
Please
barbecue
update
out.
SuperSource.
SuperSource is not updating.
It did. It just did. Just took a second.
Copy.
Update again. Yeah.
And once more. Is it just lagging, Tommy?
No, I think it's probably just the loose nut behind the wheel.
Do you says reset? Great.
Do you want to, Tommy, just for troubleshooting techniques, do you want to just call your hits and we can kind of see how laggy it is?
I can try that. Resetting DSS.
Thank you.
Reset.
No one in the spot. You want to try it again? Oh, there you go. Then it cleared. That seemed like it did take a little time that time. Tommy, did you call that before or after you hit the button? The reset.
May have been a little behind, or right on probably.
Right on. Okay, gotcha.
The second call. Cut. Well, I was behind on the vocal there, but I cut it right away.
JJ.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
JJ, the preview boxes are around input 1 and around input 17. Is that what we expect it to be? Is that on a different ME?
Yeah, so active speakers on ME2, but I think that I guess not. No, I don't know why screen share shows as
I called Alex's bluff.
Oh, because we're on screen share. That's why.
Cool.
We're on screen share, but why is the preview boxes around 1 and 17 whenever they're not in the super source? The preview boxes are around the super source, input 1 and input 17. So that is correct. Is that Alex and the super source are in preview, but why is 17 in preview?
I don't know that.
He's not in the super source.
Let me check my other. Let me get check.
Sky has a magnetic personality.
Tommy, would you make active speaker and put it into program for me, please? And there you go. That's changed.
Interesting.
Would you send screen to live for me? There you go. Sorry, put screen share again into program for me, please, Tommy. And send it live for me. Yep.
Well,
so there you go. When screen share is sent through, it's previewing for some reason. Can you put active speaker into preview for me? So yeah, that's interesting. And put SuperSource in preview. So when SuperSource is in preview, it's previewing 1 and 17 along with it. 1 is correct, but 17 is an outlier as to why it would be previewed.
That makes sense. All right. SuperSource.
And you can go back to active speaker, please, Tommy, in program. Nice choice, Tommy. That's nice.
We have black square in 15.
Oh, darn it.
Alex said this was the last question. I don't know if he's just not moved the other question back to notes yet, or if he just overlooked it.
Are they answering the one from Ash at the moment?
Correct.
Then the next one is a second R question, isn't it?
So, gotcha. Gotcha.
Did you send Chris that thought about coloring?
You know what? It's in my. I've not yet pushed it in. I will. Yeah.
No problem. Sorry, was I talking over someone else there at that time?
No, just letting Josh know. 15 is Greg Curda, and he's camera's muted. He's here.
He's here.
AFK. Awesome. Gotcha. AFV.
AFV.
He's America's Funniest Videos.
AFC. America away from camera.
KFC.
I have a weird KFC story. I was in St. Petersburg.
Oh, brother, we all have those.
I was in St. Petersburg, wandering around with my wife. We just gone to this electronics store, and we were coming up on this big avenue intersection. And I turned to my wife and said, "I really want KFC." And we took another 5 steps, and she said, "Well, we're not going to get it here. They don't have KFC in Russia." 6 steps later, we look to our left, and there's a KFC. KFC's everywhere. the weird part is that they don't call KFC. They call KFC KFC, but it's not KFC.
Oh.
And the chicken there is called Bush chicken, as in George Bush chicken, because the chickens in Russia are not normally that large.
Sorry. Should I sit done? Should I hit done on this? Or
Alex
or just
tends to do that himself, doesn't it? Yeah. I would hit done. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I gave him a chance to do it.
Yeah, we give you a chance, Alex. So don't be annoyed at us for moving the things on your screen.
So far, he's been pretty amicable.
Oh, he's been great. He like anyone, if things throw off a train of thought, it can be very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always impressed about his multitasking.
This is certainly a mind melt of a way of doing things.
Shoot, who did I just lose?
Huh. Interesting. What just happened there? Should I reselect Noah? Saying he added the other two, Noah got unselected. I'm going to select them again. Any clue as to what happened?
He might have clicked it and then not unselected it.
Okay, so yeah, he added and then clicked, so he unclicked it. He didn't see that it was already clicked. Gotcha.
I've got nothing coming into the super source.
Copy that. You done the reset, obviously?
Not a reset, just a process.
I'm gonna resync on my side, Tommy. There's a bunch of holes. I'm gonna try to fill the holes in real quick.
Copy that, JJ.
Copy.
There we go. Okay, panel looks ready.
Have you hit the SS process again?
Copy, done.
Yeah, I think we've got a problem with the super source.
The universe again?
The universe is up.
Yeah, we have control, but with the super sources stopped listening.
Okay, so Tommy, you were able to put the gallery view into preview?
Yeah.
Thing I've got. Okay, so for Juan, after trying to run the algorithm, I ran into a error in the JavaScript error, which is, so I get that error.
Question unrelated to this problem. After someone is clicked off, after they're done, why do they remain in the question? Is it sort of an idea, keeping an idea how many people have answered, sort of when to pass on to the next subject?
I think it's, I mean, I'm not too sure what the actual reason is, but from my perspective, it's handy one knowing who's answered. So as a host, you know whether you want to accept the person coming back in. And at the same time, it's helpful from a data perspective to know who answered what for the voting of people's answers that Alex has alluded to later on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We did have an issue with people repeat answering in a question, I believe. I don't know if we've gotten that sorted out.
JJ, did you want to record any further details about that JavaScript error?
Well, I'm chasing it back. I'm going back to the previous interfaces to figure out why. Currently, it sees no hands. I think that's the issue. It sees no hands, so it's trying to process no hands, which is a 0 value. That's the error. And actually, what's great is we now see the no source, which is that this is actually a good thing. So the value we're seeing right now is no source, which is that's a good super source name, which is empty instead of a black box. So empty is good, black box bad.
An empty box would just show the background?
Yeah, so right now we can see the super source, we can see Alex and then a slowly moving background. That's
that would look a lot better.
A black box.
Agreed. Black box looks like an error.
Right. So that's one of the things that Juan fixed. So we have a good state. Unfortunately, what we don't have is the data of the panelists with hands raised. Because right now I'm seeing hands 0. Actually, let me go grab that. Let's see what Makana's reporting. This could be Makana.
We have a super source. Briefly, not anymore.
Yeah, so I'm asking Mukana right now. I'm querying Mukana directly. I'm not worrying about Isadora. And with a direct query to Mukana, I see none. I see no hands raised. Mukana is telling me there's no hands raised.
Interesting. So the view that we have, how are we getting the view of who's raising the question?
Oh, in Mukana, you mean? In the panel view of Mukana?
Correct.
That oh, I know why. Because there's no questions being answered right now. No one's clicked the answer button.
Oh. Should I do that now?
Sure. There you go.
I feel sheepish.
No, let me check.
And try the process.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's our hands. Yay!
Did I miss that?
It might have been a double press.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Is this the second question for the second hour? Because I remember I done the last question of the first hour. Oh, you know what? That's what happened. Got you.
Great. This is great.
I done the last question for the first hour, but I never. That was probably me. I didn't push the answer for the first question when we resumed it.
And thanks, Juan, as well, because you gave us the answer that we were looking for about a minute ago.
Thanks, Juan. Like, if I could only confine. Now, that might be something when. Okay, so could this be like a discussion sort of mode when there is no question being discussed? Could it be automatically like a placeholder being a discussion sort of thing? Or like, could this be the space for your banter mode, JJ?
You guys don't like banter mode? I like banter mode.
I love banter mode.
No, I'm not. No, that's what I'm suggesting. See, because we're sort of in this dead zone where Alex is sort of riffing and bringing in the thing. Now, Sky's gotten in my head.
I know. The thing with the thing and the guy and the place and the stuff.
Wait, we're talking about a thing.
Yeah, I'm okay with you using the Hawaiian version for that. Decline. Just start saying decline.
That's Hawaiian?
Decline fish. Yeah, it's a Hawaiian thing. Decline fish. Decline place. I'm cool if you start using the Hawaiian for that.
Decline kumquat.
Decline problem. Or the Colombian osea. Osea. I've got my wife to saying blah blah blah. She just my Russian wife. That's turned into one of her idioms now.
That's yada yada yada.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, see, banter would be great for like right now. Reynolds was reacting. Fenwick's is reacting.
Ideally, it would just be to have a manual supersource option.
Well, that's a little bit what the functionality of the very first cutter interface you guys saw, that was supposed to have some of those functions. That is to say, one should have been able to take one and assign them to SSR2 box 1, 2, 3. It worked one time.
Well, that's a high success rate for us.
JJ,
Yes, sir.
what if when you push the done button, it enables banter mode? So what if it pulls down the interface for banter mode when you hit done? When you hit answer, banter mode goes away because you're answering a question.
The main thing is to understand what the behavior of banter mode would be. Is it to go with the person talking and the last person talking? Or is it to go into a manual mode where we can assign a few people for reaction shots? Because what JJ was saying at the moment was what I was thinking. The original interface that we used to have is somehow to give us a manual control option that we can then just choose 1, 2, 3, and 4 to go into these boxes.
Right, because what you're doing is banter mode. Banter mode short circuits Mukana because people have banter mode. You're not going through the formal process of putting your hand up in Mukana and them being there to select them. So it's sort of on the cuff. You can add people in that suddenly become part of this banter, and your host. Not your reader wouldn't really be important in banter mode, but it'd basically be like a host and a host banterer or banterers.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think it has to be a manually controlled super source that we just have the hosts and then who we want to select coming into it. As Laura says, it needs to be available in the middle of the question, because what you could do as well, that could be a solution to our question about the super source position and about how useful it is after the question is taken out. Because if we have a manual super source option, then all we would have to do is activate that, and it goes to a new type of super source that we can manually input whatever, and its position is lower in the frame, which then suits better, or is designed for a full frame rather than leaving the gap of the lower third.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Manual super source was stopped last week, and oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, if it's in development, then that's great.
Well, he said what yesterday? When did he say start making his new proclamations? That we've got 2 weeks now? Right, Laura.
It's got to be Alex proof. And by Alex proof, I mean like whether he's host or not, he just decides to. The muscle memory kicks in.
But I think actually, I mean, if one looks at the things people are training for, one of the things that people are training to become is a host. I think they're folks who would like to have something they're hosting a show. And so with Alex is the conceivably most comfortable worst case scenario. Letting people learn to become hosts in a similar fashion, that we've got a bulletproof method that any host wouldn't be able to break the system, no matter how different they may be. It's still creating a good show that lets that host be excellent no matter what their behaviors might be.
What's an example of a delta between host mode, banter mode, and typically what we're running currently?
Well, so actually, when Richard said to have the current speaker and then another speaker, without having to build that, it would kind of make sense to have a delayed super source that builds to. I kind of feel like it'd be nice to have a super source limit that you have the host, and then you have a person speaking who takes up the second location. When someone else talks, it builds a super source that adds that third person.
Yes.
With the host still staying the same and retains that last person talking and has the new person talking. Which then goes into building that that voting or that
Did you say Greg? Oh, you did.
That oddly transitory system that kind of gives you the next best speaker.
Okay, so then what you would do is
grading system.
So basically, you would have a button or something, or automatic possibly, to add the active speaker to the banter mode.
Host.
Bill has not yet been accepted. There he goes.
Host.
Yeah, it can't be active speaker. It has to be.
Yeah. We'd have to figure out how to make whoever was host a non. We have to figure out how to make host a non-value for active speaker.
Correct.
We have to filter them out. Otherwise, we have two people. We have a host and then the host.
I think there's actually. I know how to do it. I know how we could do it.
Sweet.
Jeff has not yet been accepted.
Yes, I think so. Juan, yes to your answer. Yes. Because
you know how. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to finish to Juan, because sometimes when you're having a conversation, the first person who was answering, like let's say it's Fenwick. So Alex is talking, Fenwick butts in, and then Alex keeps on talking with Fenwick talking to each other. Then Charles comes in to correct them both because they're both wrong. If we keep Chris, Fenwick, Alex as the host, and then Charles talking, we now have the opportunity for Fenwick to react to Charles' correction. So having those two people there as part of the banter in the speaker side, have an election process that then if Chris stops talking, like he just reacts, and then Mickey comes in and says, no, both you guys are wrong. You can either choose a 3-up or.
Pardon me, we have
Chris
a super source incoming for this question. You want to test the super source refresh? Can we get the super source to upgrade?
It is not. It's not.
There you go.
Do a reset.
Tommy, we're getting some
reset data.
That's good.
Your internet might have been going out. You were a little distorted there.
Super source looks good.
Okay, we'll see what happens when we go to Craig.
How can we get that in preview? Got a really tiny screen here. I can't see it. Thank you.
Okay, please update. Looks good.
Looks good. Bill Davis not accepted.
There's quite a bit of latency on that last update.
Thank you for that. Bill still not accepted. Come on. Okay, cool. We can do it again. Courtney answering. Updated. How was that?
Great.
Any better, Tommy?
Yeah, a second, maybe that time. Seemed like it was 4 or 5 seconds.
Were that long?
And I did click a DSS reset in panic mode that first time where I didn't get anything.
Okay. Go ahead and call your next update. Oh, so as per our last conversation, do you know how Zoom, if there actually might be some native code in Zoom that does not keep one person. So sorry, I'm juggling a few thoughts at the same time.
Can't listen to this guy.
Be back in a wee second. George, just answer your question. You're using DSS process, not reset, I believe. JJ, do you want to explain the difference between the two, if you can?
Nope.
Nope. Fair enough.
I
Then
don't know the answer. I don't know the difference.
there is no difference that we can tell, but one works and one doesn't. One is what we use. The other one destroys the world.
DSS process is what I stick with then, right?
That's it.
Copy that.
Back in 1 second.
I can find out. Maybe I'll find out. I'll find out the difference. See, right here, banter button.
Well, in this instance, we just haven't moved on yet. We've still got, well, okay, so maybe, okay, so what you're saying, JJ, is inside of a super source, there's a banter that breaks out, and then you go to banter mode. And then you can go back to the super source, resume the super source after the bantering has subsided?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that's generally conversation behavior.
Right.
Why is Bill not in SuperSource? Bill should be in SuperSource, actually.
He should be, yeah. Did we update?
Oh, he's talking about the reader.
He's the reader.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's answering. Is that a no-no?
No, he's fine. It's my.
No, so he's in the wrong position on the reader position.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's because I ran an update at the end of the top of the hour because of all the holes. So that should be fixed now. There you go. Yeah, because where Bill was in the first hour was propagated by Craig Kadoki in the second hour after the reset.
Failure of the looking for reader in the answers. Please update SuperSource. Please.
Well, he can't actually. That's one thing that isn't done automatically. I do that. I set.
No, this was the change he made yesterday, I think. That's what I'm asking about.
New behavior.
One has requested a super source update.
There you go.
Confirmed. Super source updated.
There it is. It did take a while. So I clicked DSS process and it was 1.5 seconds before the DSS process actually processed the change.
I see one says we need to have a reader selected on SuperSource.
SuperSource reader, please. SuperSource host reader, please.
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem that the new behavior, the new thing is working. Now please update.
Updated copy.
Yeah, no change.
Are you saying that Juan put in something that would prevent host reader from being visible when
Yes,
the reader is an answer?
Confirmed.
nice change. We just tested it and it's not working.
Might that be because Bill was not in the reader position when he was loaded into SuperSource?
Could be. Let me go reprocess.
I'm going to
Roles.
lay off the buttons now as long as someone else is pushing.
Yes, sorry. Okay, doing a get again.
Juan is asking, is connected brain pins host pin and reader pin?
Verifying. Where's Bill? Bill is 13. I see Bill at 13, Alex on 1. Is that correct? Yep.
Confirmed. Oh, sorry, Bill. Bill is not at 13. No, he is at 13. Sorry, my fault.
He's asking about the SuperSource actor.
I think JJ's just checking it.
Richard, do you want to take over Universal while you're debugging this?
Can we update again, please?
I'm in Isadora right now.
Yep. Confirm, Tommy. I'll take control and then hand over to George in a wee second.
Reset. Go ahead. Process, please.
Update SuperSource, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Button was pressed.
All right. So what the issue, of course, is that Bill stopped answering. So now we don't know if the behavior has been fixed.
What's weird is I did see a 0 in my output for a bit there. So it kind of looks like it was trying to work.
JJ, do you want to check someone else as the reader for one of the upcoming questions?
Update, please.
Josh, would you pump more questions into on deck for me?
Yes, thank you.
Outputs, let's see, 9, 18, 20. Okay, good. I said 9. Whoa. Is this correct? 9, 18, 20? Nine, 18, Roscoe? Oh, Todd. 9, 18, 20. Yeah, okay.
Juan says he sees a disconnect in the patch. On your screen here.
On my screen?
Correct. He says that on yours, when you shared your screen, you were looking at the patch. He said there was no connected pins between. Where was it? I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
Host pin and reader pin.
Yeah, host pin and reader pin.
Thanks, Laura, for that. It will be okay for a wee seconds. I want to focus on getting George in once we're finished debugging.
At the SuperSource brain in the red.
Okay.
And then scroll down and just see where the host pin. I don't think that Jonas connected those pins, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I don't see those connected either.
So what should they be connected to, Mr. Juan? Host pin should host pin to a listener on channel 20.
you have a listener there on a channel 20 listener?
719 6.
All right, JJ. Here's what I want you to do, if you can grok it.
Huh?
Is double click on the red and add a listener. Put in that listener channel 20. Connect the output of channel 20 to the host pin on input on the SuperSource brain.
Ah. It won't let me. You want me to connect it to the host pin?
Output
20.
The output of that, the output value of that listener,
which is 1,
should go to host pin.
And when I try to create it, I try to connect it between value 1 to the host pin. I have an X. I have a do not enter. I have a negatory sign listed when I hover over host pin.
So let me chat with Juan really quickly. We'll hold off on that. So Juan, are you wanting the pin or the routing? Because panel 20 is going to bring us the routing, not the pin. Yeah, that is a type. It is a type problem. But before we go further and change the type, tell me whether you want a pin or a routing number. Yeah, so that isn't going to work because that is a routing number. So we're going to have to think of this a different way at a different time. What we need is the host's PIN number to go into. Could you type Alex's PIN number into host and Bill's PIN number into reader for this test, please? 1080 for Alex.
Oh, that pin. Yeah, sorry. Wrong one.
And what's Bill? Anyone?
Grabbing Bill. 1058.
Okay. Throw those in, and then what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is the time when Richard raises his hand. Not Richard.
Richard.
Richard just said the text, and I said Richard. When Bill raises his hand, is going to answer the question. We want to not see him in the super.
Oh.
Okay. So unfortunately, that may not happen again in this hour, but we're looking at that. So if that happens, please speak up. We can go back to cutting and etc.
So tell me again, you want to wait till Bill has raised his hand, correct? To speak, is that what you're looking for?
A couple of ways we can test this. We either wait till Bill raises his hand, or we assume a reader that is not Bill that we know will. So who's been raising their hand consistently?
Jeff. Well, right now we have Jeff Francis. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so he's in now.
You can find Jeff Francis's number, put it in there, but then also change Jeff Francis to reader in Mukana.
Go for Noah Sargent. He is number 1064.
All right. 1064. Done there.
And then if you could also just confirm when you change to Noah Sargent as reader in Lucana that you didn't end up putting Bill and Jeff and Sargent as reader. We need only one reader at this point.
Done. Both. Okay, so now I see.
Do we need to update?
And you changed the reader pin on the actor to Noah Sargent, correct?
Yes, so the reader pin is now 1064, which is Noah Sargent's number, I think. Yep.
Right.
The tag in Mukana is Noah Sargent. The tag
Right.
has been removed from Bill Davis. In the SuperSource brain, I now see 1064, 1153, none from API hands. And then the output is search pins. I see 1153. I do not see Noah Sargent.
Okay.
Right.
What's also interesting here is that this is a super source that should have Noah Sargent in it, but when I reprocess, it doesn't come up. So I think it's working, except for the fact it's showing Bill in the reader position.
Yeah, that's odd.
Well, that's because that's manual. The Bill and that location super source is entirely manual. That's the thing one of the things that I have to do by hand.
That's
Brilliant.
weird.
So it's working then. If you manually move that over to Noah, then it's working.
That's one of those constantly manual things. There.
AJ, we can make that follow along with really easily. So if you would like, we could do that.
That's fine. It can. One less thing for me to do. One step closer to my unemployment.
But that's brilliant. So it's working. Well done.
But what we want you to be able to do is less things that don't pay you and more things that do pay you. That's my goal. Unfortunately, I am failing at that in my own life in a spectacular method right now.
Yes, but there's the spectacular part.
Yeah. I need to figure out how to get paid to be on after hours. It's not working out for me.
Can you dance?
I can, but you won't want to watch.
Just put a note in whenever you do some lighting design for people that they put your advertisement up. You know, have a little pin, little advert.
It would be great if George, if you could write this down. I think what might be great is to, in the process of selecting the host and the reader that JJ does, if that would set a couple of values for those pins, because I think we could use those in a couple of places, and it's because right now it's all going through the system and making routes, and it'd be great to just have a clear text version of their pins to work with in the patch. Yeah. So I don't know if that means having a double action happen on the universe button that sends in that pin. There's a couple of different routes to get there, but I think that would be really good to have in a global value, and then we could just pull from it when we need it. Thanks, George.
You're welcome. What did I do?
You responded when I thanked George.
So do we have a moment where I can just brief George on the interface again? Or is there some more debug conversation that we would be interrupting?
You're good. Go for it.
Awesome. Thank you. George, just so we'll go through, there's 4 rows of buttons. So we're just going to look at the middle row of buttons. So that's the one that starts with host reader supersource or host reader SS. So what we're in right now in preview is the host reader supersource. So if you click host SS, that will change the nature of the super source. So press away. There we go. Excellent. So then the next button along is Smart Gallery 16. So then that obviously puts the Smart Gallery into preview. The next button along is SSRC. So that's the super source button. And its number changes depending upon what super source is being recalled. But that's the button that puts the super source into preview. Then we have host, which currently is not a button that doesn't work, I don't think. I think if I press it, it won't. Oh, it does. Hey, host works. Nice. So host obviously just goes directly to host. Then active speaker obviously is the active speaker. And then question reader. Does this work? I'm going to press it. It does. Oh, JJ and Juan and everyone. This is awesome. And then screen obviously puts screen share in there as well. So if you, at the moment, we are live with active speaker and we are in preview with screen. Screen is a backup to active speaker if it ever goes down. In fact, it looks like Chris is frozen. Is that frozen on our end?
It's because he's sharing screen.
Ah, well, that's interesting because the shared screen should come up in screen share.
It didn't. It froze him, though. It froze the host and the reader.
Interesting. Well,
was it
that's one for...
Was it Spotlit or Spotlit will break stuff?
You know what?
So if somebody else was sharing something through their camera and then someone else spotlit it, that will break the system. Not break.
No, I don't think so because I can still see his camera up. So he must have been sharing.
The camera. Where did you see the camera up?
I saw him frozen.
In 1.0?
They were both frozen, but you could still see his camera.
It's okay. We can go back into the YouTube from 1.0 and have a look and see whether it was a screen share or a spotlight. And we'll try and debug it from there. That was at 4:44, shall we say, to look around for Chris answering the question. That's 4:44 UK time, so whatever the heck that is, anyone else's time.
If you listened in after hours this morning, he said Z is the.
He
so
did. I did.
4:44 is correct.
I know, but C is that Zulu, which I don't know what Zulu is, but is it UTC? And he's just pronouncing UTC as C. Is that correct?
Z, yeah.
Yeah. UTC in my head as well is like, what the heck is that? Because it's exactly the same as GMT, except it's not. So it's weird. Anyway, yes, GMT, which technically then is my time zone, UTC. So 4:44, my time zone.
16:44.
Yeah. Thank you.
Glad we found a center.
Don't say 4:44 because that'll even worse confuse me. 16:44.
Sorry. So apologies, George, that going off on a different tactic. So the buttons we have is graphic in and graphic out. So the normal behavior that we're trying to look for is that when we're in active speaker, then you bring the super source into preview. So if you want to click on super source there for me. Excellent. So then we move between the super source and the active speaker. So when the calls for next question, all you have to do is hit graphic in. So if you hit graphic in for me now, which should automatically bring in the current question. If you see that question is not correct, then press graphic in again, and it should update and bring in the correct question. And then, so once the reader starts talking, bring in the question, then bring over the super source. And then once the question is finished reading and you give it a couple of seconds, you take the graphic out and you move back over to active speaker. That's the behavior that we're kind of looking for. So I'm not going to practice that too much because we're still in a debugging session. But if you want to give it a wee go in the background, moving between the different sources, feel free to move directly to someone using the numbers if you wish, or going to the smart gallery when you think it's appropriate. But practice bringing in the graphics, taking them out whenever you hear for them, and then moving between super source and active speaker. There's one other element to this, which is updating the super source, which we've started to do today. Which is whenever you hear Josh or anyone call for a super source update, you just hit DSS process. Does that all make sense?
Copy. One issue, I do not have the program audio.
No, you would have to at the moment for these training sessions be also logged in to the actual webinar on a phone or another device. I'm for the last couple of days have actually been pumping it into Accidental's comm system. So if you still have access to Accidental's comms, you can actually log in right now and then lift up your program audio and you'll hear it there.
Okay.
If that gives you another option, whichever you prefer.
Copy that. Yeah. I'll just grab it on my phone. I think that's probably the
Yeah,
fastest. And
going
I'll let
into
you
the
know
Zoom
when
on the
I'm
phone
up.
that's excellent. Thank you very much.
I'll let you know when I'm up. Thanks. Copy that.
No problem. Thank you.
Update,
Was that
please.
a request? Was that a request to have audio in this room?
No, it was George is going to go and get audio from on his phone from the show.
Okay. Because that is possible if I do this.
If you unmute it will start coming through. But it's okay because we're still debugging, so I think it's fine to be looking for it. I will probably naturally try and encourage us to move over the comms at some point, just to get people more familiar with it, those who've never got the chance to use it before. But it's too much messing right now, I think.
I'd like you to keep an eye out for Noah Sargent, just to make sure that in all instances that situation is still working.
That's awesome. Will do.
I'll go make sure I haven't changed that. Yep, this looks good.
Are we going to go back to the banter box discussion?
I'm always ready to banter. I like the term banter box. It's apt.
I mean, I have said before and been voted down on it, but I still feel that having the first speaker plus however many speakers you want in there as a super source would be really useful, because so often it's the current speaker that's being bantered with. And then if there's another person that starts to banter in, you can just add that. You can add the appropriate number of boxes back in. So box limitation, I think, would be good. But again, people have disagreed with me on that, so I don't want to push it too hard. But
no, I think we're all in the same page, sort of. It's more just about how to implement that as an interface is maybe the question, and also how to make sure, because what's natural is to bring up a 2-up with the host and active speaker, but we have to have some way to exclude the host from appearing in active speaker when they talk. That would be most natural. So I think that's too technical. So therefore, the solution in my mind is to create a manual supersource option that we can override the automatic supersource and then choose how many boxes and who goes into those boxes, so that we have a bit more manual control. But that would also technically give us a backup to some of the problems that we're having with the automatic supersource if we had that as an option, technically. But I think it's all up for grabs.
My 2 cents regarding that is that by saying, oh, we're just going to make it manual, we are adding potential work for situations when there's a lot of task saturation. And so what I'm hoping for is that we have both of those options. Because right now we kind of have the option of doing manual super sources, but JJ has to be the one to go and make them. If we add that to TD's plate, it may or may not be something the TD is super comfortable doing, depending on who the TD is at any given point. So it would be great to also have the adjustment with just 4 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if the automatic super source seems to have too many people in it and there's awkwards and the last one's picking his nose, you push on 3. Right? And that's all I'm saying. And I can stop calling that banter box, but I think that's an important feature.
Well, do we sort of have an in-between system at the moment? And sorry, George, I saw that you have that up. So you feel free to switch in the background now. You have the con. So you feel free to work in the background as you need, as we banter the banter box discussion. It feels like we sort of have an in-between place at the moment because we have a super source that we have to update. So technically, if we're feeling that there's a bit of banter right now, we could just not update the super source and leave it on the 3-up or the 2-up that it happens to be on. So that does sort of give us the option, except for the fact that it's badly placed within the frame.
Well, there were four hands up on the question. We reset the super source at the point of the hands are up, and now we don't have a way to go to, if there's people in the queue, we don't have a way to go to one person without.
What? Pardon me. Why is the super source broken right now?
I don't think it's broken. It just hasn't been manually updated. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. No worries.
Was that what you meant, Talalok?
No, what I mean is, if you manually update at the time the question is asked, right? And there's 6 people in the queue, you're going to get a 4-up. So at that point, there is no way to make a 3-up, a 2-up, or a 1-up.
Yes, but I'm still not too sure whether we. So what is the ideal behavior? Can you describe that for me a bit more?
If I was a TD and I had the option to use the powerful system of the super source brain, what I would want to be able to do is have all those people march through those super source
please.
All the time as we have them, but then choose whether or not I'm showing 4 of the queue, 3 of the queue, or 1 of the queue.
Excuse me, Taluk. I think, is it because Noah is said it's the reader that he doesn't show up in the super source here?
Correct. That's a good behavior.
I
Excellent. That's what we're hoping for.
Graphic in on that. This is a little distracting.
George, you work away. You don't worry. We'll let you know if there's something we want removed. So I want you to be able to do what you need in the background and get familiar with it, and we'll call for something if we think that we want to focus on it.
Copy that.
So sorry, Talalok, would you continue on? But I for me, I want to understand what buttons you want and what behavior do you want from those buttons.
The only extra buttons in my thinking is 4 buttons. That is over in a section near where we control the super source. And if button 1 is pushed, then only the first person in the queue would ever be in it. If button 2 is pushed, then the first and second person in the queue would be. If 1, 2, and 3 is pushed, then the first, second, third person would be in it. And if button 4 is pushed, then you would have the first, second, third, and fourth person in it.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Sure, Laura.
Not it.
Can I just throw an idea out there? What about a 2-up super source that the first up is the host and the second box, the TD, using that 20 can put the other person that's bantering with Alex in it, and then so that we can get what we want. And I know it might be a little bit, I think I could handle that, because sometimes the banter is somebody that's not in the super sources having asked the question. Like Alex does it all the time to Liberty. That's my concern.
I think
does that sound feasible.
What you're describing is probably my preferred option, which is that we have manual control. So when I'm describing manual control, that's kind of what I would imagine it. I think what Tlaloc is trying to aim for is a halfway house, so that the TD doesn't have to think too much of it. And therefore will allow more TDs to be able to access it, not just those who feel they have the bandwidth for it. So his suggestion is to as he described already, I think would be workable. But personally, I would for me, and I'm a person who's been doing stuff like this for a wee bit longer, I would prefer full manual control. Of who goes into that banter box and whether that banter box is a 2-up or a 3-up or a 4-up.
Could we do Tloc's solution with some form of manual override if necessary?
I would say that might be over engineering it a little bit, because technically it's an override to an override already. His override is overriding the automatic system, but I mean, I would say let's try Tlaloc's option and we can see how it works and what the behavior is, because it is rare that we would have someone outside of the question answering in that kind of banter style, and his option does make sense in making it a really easily accessible. Whereas what I think you and I, Laura, are suggesting would immediately need 20 more buttons on the interface versus the 4 buttons that Tlaloc is suggesting.
Actually, I didn't think so. I was thinking about using the buttons that we use to jump to the person.
No, unfortunately, we would need those because the way they're programmed, those basically are set to do one job. You would have to then have another button added to disable that activity or that function from those.
I don't understand the programming side of it, so thank you. That what I'm thinking is almost impossible. And what is the weird on your video? There's a weird button with all I can see is it's blue and it's okay. This isn't okay.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for telling me. That is just I think my downstream key is on at the moment, so that's just a notification that appeared on my Mac because a colleague is next door to me and is logged into a machine, and it's now giving me notifications that his machine has FaceTime connected to it for some reason. So that's it. It was just my downstream key. It's a normal Mac notification, but with but the downstream key is applied because I can draw on top of myself at the moment. Woo!
The super source does not appear to be updating.
Are you pressing DSS process to update it manually?
I haven't been, but I will.
There you go. That's what's happening there. That's the main difference from today, is that it's moved over from an automatic system to a manually pressing the DSS process button to update.
That makes more sense, but thank you.
Interesting.
With a black box.
Black box. Who's meant to be there, Josh? And are they in the 16-up?
Good question.
Nobody.
That's
there's
okay.
there's no one's answering.
Situation.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, I thought it was a trick question.
No, you're okay. So hit DSS process, George, and that should update with Roscoe coming into it.
Copy that. Done. No Roscoe.
We're still in the reader super source.
That shouldn't matter. It should still update. Might be because we updated after the question had been finished and moved on to the next one. So Tlaloc, do you want to give that a go? Should we try and request that as a feature?
Well, the thing is that Juan has already sort of began to build that, and we were trying to debug it yesterday. We didn't get there, and it was really kind of put on the kibosh. So I think we need to hold off on that and wait till some other stakeholders are here and discuss that.
Sure thing. One makes a good point, is that we should update the buttons in the interface to reflect. Juan, do you want to pop that into Discord as a request for Jonas when he's getting through into the next universe interface update? I've also got a lot of things I would like changed in the interface as well, but I'll let that happen in time.
I can make some of those changes. What are the requests?
So first request there from Juan was just to rechange the names in the interface to reflect what they currently do. So I'm assuming that one you might be referring to DSS process might now be SuperSource update or something along those lines.
Okay.
And then I'll send you, JJ, my last... I put a PDF into Discord with what I think the interface should look like. And I can send that through to you as well. And, anyone else who feels that works or doesn't work, please comment on it in Discord.
SuperSource is not updating.
We should have a hand raised at the moment. So that's Bill.
Been accepted.
Have we changed the reader over?
Try it now. Try updating now.
Sorry. JJ, did you change reader over to Bill again? JJ's updating that interface at live at the moment.
One change that makes a lot of sense to me would be to have the graphic in over the graphic out. Because, just the way things flow in audio land, things go in the top and out the bottom.
Yeah, good suggestion. So can I just check, JJ, we saw Bill there as reader for a wee while. Was that intended?
I think he is now reader. Can we?
Because he was in Noah's position, which is Laura. It's okay. I saw that message. I'll come back to you in a wee second. We saw Bill in the reader position in the SuperSource there a couple of seconds ago. Was that intended?
That was the manually routed Bill.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if I'm going to click on question reader real quick to see who's listed. Okay. So Bill's listed as question reader over here. Is he still listed as question reader over here?
I wonder if somebody in the panel saw that and thought it was a mistake and changed it.
Yeah, but he appeared in the one that JJ manually writes as well. That was my question, because the one that's underneath Alex right now is what JJ manually inputs, and Noah, Bill was there a question or two ago.
So what happened? The SuperSource one, that's done by me right now. That's all just me.
Did you then change Bill to be in as reader 2 questions ago?
I heard him talking. So I put him in SuperSource.
Right, cool. That's what I wanted to check. I wanted to check and see was there a reason for that, because what we were seeing then was 2 Bills. We were seeing Bill as reader again, and Bill is answering the question. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a problem that was occurring. It was behavior we were expecting.
What I don't recall is whether or not I set Bill as, or if I set Noah as reader in SuperSource 2 ever. I think I did a while ago, right?
You did, yes. Yeah. When we were testing him and his position. And the reader SuperSource exception. Maybe that's the way to describe it.
Okay, approaching end of the session.
So Laura, I'll put that back into Discord again now, just so you have it at the top of the page. And you were confused about something else I said, so feel free to query that if you wish.
My only other point of question is that I felt like the manual process way to have the SuperSource hang until you process it isn't quite as good. My opinion. I wish we could pause that action, start it again. But having stuff refresh means that you're less likely to throw the wrong thing.
So say that again for me.
I'm saying I'd like for there to be a discussion about whether or not having the API connected to the hand raising until you push the button is better or worse. Because it seemed to be a bit of a stumbling block today.
So we did the automatic versus manual update. Is that what to the super source? That's what you're querying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I said earlier, I would prefer it to be a freeze rather than having to update every single time. But the current behavior that the TD normally does is that the super source only goes in at the beginning. So it doesn't get updated as you go through. It doesn't get updated until the next one. But I guess one automatic with pause button versus totally manual is what I think I would prefer. Because my worry is that it takes a while to refresh that before then it's available to use. And by the time you've done the refresh and got it ready, things have changed, or and then the super source is going to be wrong, or you're not going to be able to get it in on time because the timeline between question reader starting to read the question, or some Alex calling for the question reader starting and super source in along with the graphic is quite tight.
Wait, what did he say?
Was that to us, JJ?
Yeah, Alex just described something else for the future of Office Hours 2.0.
Sorry, I've stopped listening to the program.
Okay, I need to go find out what that was.
Okay, everyone. Thank you, George. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. George and Tommy will be looking at kind of this interface again tomorrow, as well as Laura, and more debugging. But training itself, proper training, will be on Thursday.
Good. That's great. Copy that. One question about the interface. Maybe it's just the way my brain works, but I would have gone.
I kept going to the
graphic out button instead of graphic in, and then because it just seemed to me it was in first, then out, and have them stacked opposite. Once I got it, I was okay, but.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, that makes sense to me. Certainly, it's definitely something we can look at.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the chance to do this.
Previously.
Oh, sorry. We're getting crosstalk there at the moment. Thanks, George. Sorry, Laura, were you saying something or were you talking to someone else?
The graphic in button on the original interface was on the top, and I did notice I struggled with that yesterday as well.
Brilliant. That's an easy enough change.
Quick questions on your PDF.
Can we do that in Discord? It's just we're going to have to pop over the after hours to make sure that we're getting any questions from Alex.
No problem. We'll do. I'll Discord you the questions. They're real simple.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone.
One quick question before I go. The notes that I have today, Alan took notes once I took the switch, and those are going into the After Hours 2.0 crew today.
Yeah, the Office Hours 2.0 crew. That's
George,
correct.
can I just send you what I did and you can...
Yes, please, Alan, and I'll combine them into one file.
Great.
Cool. Thanks a million. I'll get it on Discord from you. And I'm going to log out of Universe, correct?
Okay.
Yes, you can. You can just close it.
Copy that and done. Thanks very much. Appreciate it, everyone. And talk to you later. I'll jump
Thanks,
over
everyone.
the After Hours. Bye.
We'll see you.